for an elementary school opening in 2022. This school is going to be in the Horizon West Village F North area. So a few notes about how this meeting is going to work. Attendees are automatically muted with cameras off. Please use the Q&A tool to ask questions. I'll be reading questions aloud after the presentation ends. Similar questions may be combined. The chat is available as well, but please direct any questions for the panel to the Q&A. Francisco, could you advance the slide, please? The video icons you see either on the top of your screen or to the right of your screen, depending on how you have it set up, those are panelists who are available to answer questions today. I'll be introducing them shortly. If you have any technical issues today, you can reach WebEx support at 1-866-229-3239. Then you press extension 2 and then extension 1. I've also added this phone number into the chat. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the OCPS Facilities Communication YouTube page, as well as sent out as a link to everyone who registered for today. The presentation itself is also posted at facilities.ocps.net, and it's on board member Gould's page at www.ocps.net under school board member, and you choose Pam Gould. Francisco, if you could advance it again. Thank you. Today we are going to cover the earliest design plans for Site 114 EW4, which is an elementary school opening in 2022 in the Horizon West Village F North area. But before we get started, let's turn to board member Gould for welcoming remarks.
Good evening, everyone who's joined us, and thank you for being here. I am thrilled to be talking about another school to help with the growth that we are seeing on the west side of town. And without any further delay, let me turn it over to the panel so that they can get right into where we are with the design of this school.
Okay, thank you, board member Gould. So I want to introduce who the panelists are who are here today. So from the academic side, we have Executive Area Director Margaret Talbert Irving. You just heard from board member Pam Gould. We have two of the principals who might be affected by the zoning of this school. We have Julie Helton from Castleview and Amy Klaber from Water Spring. The architect for this project is BRPH. So the project lead is Francisco Alvarado. He's going to be speaking. And then Mikhail Kush, the project manager, is also on to potentially answer questions. The traffic engineer for this project is Rick Baldacchi with AvCon. The civil engineer is Jay Klima. And there are a number of people from the OCPS facilities team who are on this call as well. That includes Mo Arthur, the program management team design manager. Also from that team, Michael Gallo is on the line. Our construction planning director, Jessica Lambert, is on the line. I'm Lauren Roth. I'm the communications manager. Rory Salenbean, our senior facilities executive director, is here. Stephen Thorpe from planning is here. And now this next person I'm going to introduce is a really important one. We have a project manager for each project who's the go-between between OCPS and the architect, and then later the construction manager. So for this project, that's Tamara Cox. From OCPS Police, I'm expecting Commander Jamie Alberti, who is the commander for this area, to be on the call. From Transportation, we have Adam Zubritsky. And from Fire, Health, and Safety, we have Richard Kirkham. And I saw from Orange County Government, I saw Lauren Torres come on, and I believe Director of Public Works, Diana Almodovar, is also going to be joining us. If you could advance the slide again, Francisco. So everybody usually their first question is who's going to be going to this school? And so the long answer short is we don't know yet. So you might wonder why we're having this meeting today. And that's because the design process and the construction process takes several years. And so we're here today because we're beginning to design the school. The rezoning process begins further in. In the spring of 2021 will be the first community meetings about determining the zone for this school. Anybody who is affected will absolutely have multiple opportunities to give their input and to be part of the process. You'll have an opportunity to attend meetings, to answer surveys. So there will be a number of ways to get involved. And that begins in the spring of 2021. So without further ado, I'm going to pass things back over to Francisco.
Well, good evening. I'm Francisco Alvarado with BRPH. I'm going to start off by sharing you some of the surrounding context for the new school. So site 114 EW4 is kind of located here and is situated in the Horizons West Village North area, west of Dr. Phillips and east of the 429. This school will help relieve the elementary schools in the area, in particular Kings Crossing Elementary School, Independence Elementary School, Bay Lake Elementary School, and Castleview Elementary School. The school has grades pre-kindergarten through grade 5 with special needs programs such as exceptional student education. A little bit closer view of the site. Again, the site is situated on a 13.5-acre site west of Disney and south of the Orange County National Golf Course. The new high school, site 113, is under construction just to the south of site of where the planned elementary school is about to be. If you would, we have rotated this plan so that we can get the maximum size of it. So instead of it, we rotated it just clockwise on this one. Again, want to kind of highlight the site, the 13.5-acre site for site 114 EW4, and it's just adjacent to the Lakeshore neighborhood. And again, right across the street of site 113 HW4 off of Seidel Road and Summer Lake Grove Street. Here, a little bit of now we have overlaid our design on top of the proposed area where we have. And here we're looking at a new elementary school that's consistent of it's a 2-story classroom wing with a total square foot about 94,000 square feet. The school has a capacity for 837 student stations. It has a parking capacity for 133 cars, queuing for 215 cars for the parent drop-offs, and a bus queuing for 17 buses. Parents, staff, and visitors will enter off of the north side of Summer Lake Grove Street, and the buses will enter on the south side. The parent drop-off will be right next to the main entry that faces Summer Lake Grove Street. The school includes a play field, basketball courts, a youth lot, and a fabric shade-covered tot lot, as well as a covered PE area, a covered play area for PE activities. There's accommodation for 12 future portables should they be needed. It is anticipated that there would be students walking or riding their bikes to school, and they would be arriving from the neighboring neighborhood off of the existing neighborhood down Summer Lake Grove into this sidewalk and either parking their bikes at the bike rack here and going to the front entry, or off of Bismarck Palm Drive off of the west side of the site and entering the school from the back and walking down the sidewalk. Again, back to the entry area as well over here. The floor plan right now, we have, again, off of the entry lobby, we have our main public space, which is the administration area, the media center, the dining and multi-purpose areas, which is accompanied with a stage for performing, as well as art and music areas to the back of that. The classroom size includes a skills lab, 2 resource areas for teachers, and a teacher planning area for the classrooms on the first floor. On the second floor, again, will be solely classrooms with 2 resource areas and 2 support spaces as well. This is the 14th iteration of the BRPH elementary school prototype, with the first prototype being constructed in 2008 and the last one being Castleview Elementary opening up in 2019. Since the first iteration, we've had several changes to the school, several improvements made to the prototype, which include LED energy efficient lighting, fabric shade structure covering the tot lot, a 2-way emergency radio communication system, Wi-Fi connectivity, technology enhancements and improvements, and we've added fans to the outdoor covered play area. Sustainability. Site 114 is assigned to meet the Green Globe Sustainable Building Standards. On the site, we have provided native and low water plants, and this will help reduce water consumption. We have low impact design, stormwater design, and this incorporates best practices for on-site infiltration and stormwater management. For the building, we're using a 10% more energy efficient. It's a 10% more energy efficient than ASHRAE 90.1 standard. We are using high efficiency chillers, which are helping provide an 8% energy reduction. We have light colored roof to reduce the heat gain and improve energy performance. And we have Energy Star rated equipment throughout. Water saving toilets, faucets, and fixtures, which also include water bottle fillings, water coolers. Close to all the general classrooms, I have day lighting, natural day lighting. There are thermal efficient windows and glazing, and fully automated building control systems that allows the lights in the air conditioning system to turn off when there isn't any occupants in the area. Examples of classrooms. This is your typical classroom building, which all the classroom will be provided with a touch panel TV. Examples of specialty classrooms. We have our science labs, our music rooms, our skills labs, and our art room as well. Examples of the lobby and the cafeteria include the administration and media center. Again, we're using the hexagonal lobby for this space. And the sample for the cafeteria, which, as I pointed out, includes a stage for performances. Here's our front entry rendering, which includes a welcoming outdoor entry area prior to getting to the entrance of the school, as well as some nice landscaping in front of it. The schedule, as Lauren pointed out, we're in the early stages of design, and we're anticipating design to be complete by January 2021. At that time, we will enter the permitting and bidding portion of the project until June 2021. From there, the construction will begin, and we are estimating an 11-month construction schedule that will take us to May 2022. And then we will have a move-in period from May 2022 through August 22, right in time for school opening in the 2022 year. That concludes our presentation. If there are any questions and answers.
Okay, so thank you so much, Francisco. So I would ask everyone to please take a look at this slide to see where your Q&A is if you aren't able to find it. That's how you can ask questions. So I will be reading questions aloud in just a moment. I did want to mention that Sherry Donaldson from Keene's Crossing is also on the call with us. And I also want to mention that Pam Gould's assistant, Kim, is also on the line. So hi, Kim. So I see one question in the Q&A at this point. So that's where I'm going to start. And I'm going to read this question. And if I don't answer quite what you're asking, please ask again. I just want to make sure I understand. So Jessma, I think this is going to be an AP related question. The question is, what other sites were on the list for this relief school? And I think perhaps what's being asked is what sites were considered. And then the second part is this site is across the street from the new high school, which it is. And there's a concern about traffic. So I think there are a couple parts here. Jessma, do you have any information on the site selection that you think will be relevant? And then I want to bounce the traffic questions over to Rick.
Well, site 114, like mentioned already, will be relieving Summer Lake and Water Springs Elementary Schools. Then we have another site planned to open in 2024, which is what we call Site 47, EW4, which is the third relief school in that area to relieve, again, Water Springs. So in a matter of a 2-year span, we'll have 2 relief schools coming on for the area to provide relief.
Yeah, I'd like to chime in here. I think that's a good answer, but I think The question is really about the site choices. So when Horizon West was master planned, all of the majority of the elementary and middle school sites were identified. When we saw that the densities were changing, we did acquire some more properties, but it was kind of what was undesignated properties going forward. I think this was one of the original school sites, if I remember correctly. Jesma would probably know better.
Yes,
than I would.
it was.
So this was always in the master plan as an elementary school site. The other thing about the traffic is I know it will make traffic a little more consistent, but the high school and the elementary school do not have the same start or end times. So it's kind of a dramatically, different times. There's a couple hours almost between the two typically. So.
Yeah, and Pam, I think it's probably worth mentioning that, Francisco, if you could just show the site plan for just a moment. The car loop and the bus loop are not on Seidel. So I think that's important to note. Before I pass this over to Rick, I want to clarify the information I last had from student enrollment said that the schools that might be affected by this zoning are Independence, Keenes Crossing, Castleview, and Water Spring. Rick, are you on the line?
I am.
Lauren, I would like to chime in on that.
Okay.
Because based on the location, I'm not sure if all those schools will be affected that you just mentioned. The ones that I mentioned were part of the latest analysis that I've seen. So we'll know more when the rezoning process begins. So
Exactly.
they're still working through it. They're still working through the schools that will be affected.
Okay, and if it turns out Summer Lake is on that list, we'll make sure that Summer Lake parents get invited to the next meeting if that shift occurs. Go ahead, Rick.
Francisco, can you go back to the slide that shows the high school on it too? Gives kind of a bigger picture. Yeah, that's great. So what I can tell you is that there are a lot of traffic improvements that are just getting ready to start construction along Seidel Road, particularly related to the high school. So the intersection at Lakeshore Point Drive and Seidel Road is the main entrance into the high school for parent pickup and drop off. That intersection is completely being redone. There's a traffic signal. It's going in. The left turn lanes into the school site are being increased and lengthened. There's a right turn lane coming from the top of the page down and turning into the extension of Lake Point Drive, which is really the main entrance into the school site. So there'll be a lot of improvements at that location. Also, the buses from high school will come in Summer Lake Grove Street, but on the other side of Hydel, on the south side of Hydel, which is left on this particular picture, and they will not be accessing that entrance from this intersection that ties in with the elementary school. They'll be going to Summer Lake Groves, which is off the screen here. If you go down the screen, I don't know if we have a bigger view, but Summer Lake Grove wraps around again and ties into Seidel. So the buses will be avoiding this area where the elementary school is. Yeah, that kind of shows it right there.
Okay.
And as you pointed out, the times are also different. So the pickup and drop off times do not align the high school with the elementary school. And so far for the elementary school, the analysis has looked at the level of service on Sidell, which shows as being acceptable during that peak hour. We still have to do a little more analysis on the driveways of the elementary school and work with Orange County on that operational analysis.
Okay, thanks, Rick. I think there are going to be a couple more traffic questions coming. There's a question about that I think would be a question for the county. They're asking what the future use is of the Sidell and Summer Lake Grove Street corner that's not part of the school plan. Could you Francis, go to the next slide, I'd say? Yeah. I'm not sure. Stephen, I don't know if you know, or Lauren, you might know. Okay.
I'm a little familiar with that parcel. That's actually a privately owned commercial piece. So I know it's entitled for low scale office, medical uses, banks, etc. The last that I know is that I saw somebody came in for a potential daycare, but that hasn't moved forward. So all that we know now is what it's entitled for, and that it is private. It's not owned by OCPS or the county.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. So, Rick, I think this is back to you again. They are concerned about the intersection of Summer Lake Grove and Sidell being so close to the entrance for the high school. Has that been considered in the design and in the traffic planning? Rick, I don't know if that's all you or not, but maybe you can start it off.
Yeah, I think the question is related to the bus and staff entrance, which is right there on Summer Lake Grove. But as I mentioned before, they will not be accessing that entrance from this particular, confusing because Summer Lake Grove hits twice on Sidell. They won't be accessing from this intersection. They'll be accessing it from the other intersection, which is to the north, but actually it's kind of northeast, but it's down off the page, down and to the right, kind of.
Okay. Pam, I think if you might be able to help me with this next one. I don't see Carol on the line. So there was a question about what about families that would be getting rezoned for, the multiple times. I know that there's, grandfather options. Do you know if that would apply in this case? Oh, I think we might have lost Pam. Okay.
Here, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, now I can hear you.
Sorry. Sorry, I was on mute just so you didn't hear any background noise when I wasn't talking. In the past, when we've been able to accommodate, there's been multiple grandfather rules. Of course, the rising fifth graders have been able to stay, and if there has been families with multiple transfers, we've taken those on a case-by-case basis and tried to accommodate that too. So as we get closer to that, we'll put out, Carol McGowan and her team will put out kind of the rules for that grandfathering and the process going forward. But as we do get closer, if you're concerned, make sure you reach out to me so that I make sure that it's highlighted.
Okay, thanks, Pam. So there's a question about, saying that the Summer Lake zone is very close to here, and so it would have to be affected. And so, if that's an oversight on my part, I apologize. That was the latest information I had. So I will make sure for the 100% design meeting, we get Summer Lake invited as well.
Lauren, it's definitely Summer Lake and Water Spring. I am looking at our demographer's latest projections and spreadsheets. So that's
Lauren,
affected by the school.
Lauren, if the principal could push this plan out to that school as well, and if they would like another meeting, we need to arrange it.
Okay, I will definitely do that.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm not seeing any other questions. If anyone else has a question, please feel free to pop it into the Q&A. Pam, hey, oh, I'm sorry. Another question just came in. Okay, Rick, this is going to be you. There's a concern. Okay. It says, we were told during the high school meeting that teachers, staff, and buses would be entering through the Watermark Terrace neighborhood entrance, Summer Lake, directly across from the elementary site entrance. And I can't say I remember exactly. So Rick, maybe if you can help, that's a level of detail I'm not remembering. Rick, are you on mute?
I just unmuted, but I'm trying,
Now we can hear you.
yeah, that, I don't remember that at the high school meeting. This intersection that we see here of Summer Lake Groves and Seidel is not being improved right at Seidel Road, but this is an older aerial, so you can kind of see the roadway network just off of Seidel Road. That intersection is being redesigned to the plus intersection. And the whole
Rick, to a what intersection?
a regular plus intersection.
What does that mean?
Across, just squaring up all the roads. Right now, you can see that kind of creates like a little Y. It'll be squared up to a standard. I don't know if there's a better term than plus or a cross intersection there.
No, it makes sense when you described it. I just didn't know what you meant.
But all of the way operationally, I understand OCPS is going to tell at least the buses, is to head to the other intersection further away from Summer Lake Grove Street. And that we discussed that particularly because we knew the elementary school was coming at this location. So residents will still be able to go straight across Seidel Road to get from,
Okay.
and I guess that neighborhood is called Watermark, across to the elementary school.
Maybe since we have two schools under construction, and I'm not sure if this is you, Lauren, or maybe Jesma can work with the two design teams, we could get a layout with the roads with both of the school footprints, just so the whole community can see what that looks like all at one time. And
Yeah, put it all together.
This will be, and where the entrances and egresses are, and all of that stuff.
Definitely, and we can add that into the next meeting as an additional slide, so that everyone who comes to that can see it as well. There's a question, I believe, for the county, unless Stephen knows. There's a question about whether Summer Lake Grove will be getting a traffic light, unless we know.
That also may be a question for Rick. That's where the bus entrance is. That's where the bus access is coming through, and that for 113, and that's of course the entrance for 114.
There is no plan to signalize Summer Lake Grove. The plan is to signalize Lakeshore Point Drive.
Okay. And that actually
has a much higher traffic volume at that intersection.
Okay, and I think that feeds right into the next question, Rick, which someone's asking if there's going to be an issue with traffic going into Lakeshore. Lakeshore is the neighborhood right around 114, right? I mean, it doesn't look like. I think the question might be a concern of pass-through traffic, perhaps. If that was your question, maybe you could let me know if that's what you were looking for. Rick, is that something that you look at? What the effect on the neighborhood would be?
We did a simulation of that intersection with traffic coming from every direction, using existing background traffic plus future traffic into that development. So that intersection has now been designed to accommodate all the traffic that we are aware of based on counts and future development in the high school.
Okay, and there is clarification that the question is specifically about pass-through traffic for the Lakeshore neighborhood for Site 114. Is that something we're looking at, or that we can look at?
We have not looked at that at this point in time. And,
Okay.
when you say pass through traffic,
Well, I think what they're asking is, will people to try to avoid traffic on Summer Lake Grove or Slidell, would they try to come through the neighborhood? And, you know, is that something we're looking at and trying to deal with?
we have not looked at that, but I could see folks wanting to get to the traffic light to get out, because that's going to be a much easier and safer maneuver to come out, especially if you're turning left on the Slidell Road. It's going to be safer and easier at the traffic light at Lake Shore Point Drive.
Okay, and the commenter is asking for us to please look at that. If we're not planning to look at that, to, you know, look at the possible effect on people, you know, trying to shortcut through their neighborhood, and keep that in mind. I believe if the rest of the panel, if there are any questions I've missed, please let me know. I think I've caught everything. But Pam, if there's anything you want to say in closing, and then I'll check and see if any more questions have come in.
Just thank you for coming tonight. Please make sure that you share this with your neighbors and the families that are your friends and in your peer group, just so everybody keeps informed of what's going on. And then we'll try to get those other slides inserted in here and then have that ready for the next community meetings, so that that's clear.
Definitely.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming.
And there were 2 comments that came in just as you were speaking, Pam, just asking, 3. Okay, so let me read these. One was a comment saying that they would like a light at Summer Lake. We do have someone on from the county here, so that they'd be hearing this, and our traffic engineer is also on the call hearing your concern. And there's also a concern about high school students parking in Lakeshore. That I will, I'll share that concern with the high school principal. He's not on the call, but I'll make sure he gets invited to the next meeting. And I'm sorry, this is 113, so I will let her know about this and make sure she gets invited to the next meeting also. Someone else saying that they would love to see the site plan with both schools, and we should be able to get a really accurate one for the next meeting, because by then site 113 will be, wow, like almost complete, and site 114 will be fully designed. So comment saying, you know, please look out for the Watermark Terrace neighborhood because they'll be dealing with traffic from both schools. Another comment saying that they're excited about the schools, but please look at the traffic from every direction. And a question about Lakeshore wanting some traffic control. Lauren, from the county, is there anything you can comment on with that, what that process would entail? Maybe she's muted. But, you know, that's something we can certainly pass along to the county. Any sort of, oh, was someone trying to, Stephen? Okay, go ahead. Yeah, do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I'm fairly familiar since I used to work for the county. But actually, gates actually almost throughout all of Horizon West are actually prohibited. So that's not something that we would be able to, OCPS be able to put in, but I don't believe the HOA would also either be able to put that in as well. So gated residential communities aren't permitted in the Horizon West area. Well, very certain circumstances.
Thank you. That's really helpful. I did not know that. I believe I've captured all the questions now. So I just wanted to repeat that this presentation is posted at facilities.ocps.net. We'll be sharing that out with Summer Lake as well. and this recorded presentation will be posted and shared with everyone who registered. So thank you to everybody for coming.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Okay, thank you.